wept sore.
So they praying to God in the church, basically. Go ahead.
And said, O Lord God of Israel, why is this come to pass in Israel, that there should be today one tribe like it in Israel?
So they don't want one tribe like it. Always going to be 12 tribes. It's like you got 12 months of the year. Always. It's like you got 12 hours a year. Everything is put toward the 12 tribes that we're doing today. And people don't understand that the 12 tribes are real important in God's eyes. Always. But you got these people that didn't go up and help at all. He told all of them to go up and help in this fight. Like I said, you cannot be a bystander or somebody standing on the sideline and say, well, I ain't gonna get involved. I just wait to see the outcome. Okay, God gonna deal with you. Go ahead, jump down to verse 5. Listen to what he say right here.
And the children of Israel said, who is there among all the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation unto the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up to the Lord to Mizpah, saying, we shall surely be put to death.
So he said, who didn't come up? Now we gonna go and put them to death that stand on the outside looking in like, I ain't gonna get involved. I don't want to mess with them. Let them do their thing. No, you can't stand aside. Like I said, either you're gonna be with God or you're gonna be with Satan. Now, their family's gonna have to be persecuted now. And this is how God sustained the other tribe. Go ahead, verse 6.
And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin, their brother, and said, there is one tribe cut off from Israel this day.
Go ahead.
How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them of our daughters to wives?
He said, what we gonna do for wives? Because you're gonna need some wives to have some children by these Benjamites to keep the tribe going. What we gonna do for wives? Like I said, God deal with people who want to just stand on the sideline and look and don't participate. Go ahead.
And they said, what one is there of the tribe of Israel that came not up to Mizpah, to the Lord? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly.
He said, this one tribe from Jabesh Gilead didn't come up. That's the one to say, oh, I don't care what they do. As long as they don't bother me. Now God gonna deal with this tribe. Let's see how he deal with it. Go ahead.
For the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. And the congregation sent there the 12,000 men of the Velites, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and the children.
Ooh. So he went to the tribe and killed all the women and the children. And like I say, he gonna kill all of them except the virgin ones. This is what I'm trying to tell you. When you stand on the sideline, don't want to participate, don't want to get involved, you think you're doing yourself and your family some justice by not getting in. You better get into it. You better speak against this homosexuality, because God gonna deal with you. Go ahead. This is what he say here.
Verse 11. And this is the thing that ye should do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male, every woman that has lain by man.
So he want to destroy all the women that are not a virgin and every male. He gonna give their little virgin daughters to the tribe of Benjamin so they can procreate and keep that Benjamin tribe going on. All because they didn't come up. They didn't participate. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 12. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any male, and they brought them unto the camp to Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan.
That's a bad feeling now for these virgin daughters now that didn't have nothing to do with this, but what your mom and your daddy did. That's why it's real important that you teach your kid how God operates. Because they'll be the ones in the middle of all this destruction, and they're like, Daddy, Mom, why you didn't tell me? Why we didn't go up? Now you got to go sleep with an old man and have children by him for the rest of your life. Because your mama and your daddy didn't come up. and participate in God's war. Jump down to verse 19. Go ahead. I'm at 16. Verse 16.
Then the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin?
You're like, how we going to do for wives? So they had a plan. This is what they're going to do. Verse 19.
Then they said, behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanon. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyards.
He said, lie in wait in the vineyard, hide yourself. This is what I want you to do. Go ahead.
And see and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin.
He said, go and catch you a wife and go have children by her, these virgin girls. All because their parents didn't do what the thus said the Lord. They want to stand on the outside. They don't want to participate. They don't want to tell people that this wrong. It's the same thing going on today. Why you think these folks getting raped? Little kids. All this stuff. It starts at home when you don't teach your kids this. They want to go out and do their little own thing and just ride around town, and you ain't got no supervision on them. Or disobeying their parents. It all trickles down to the third and fourth generation, as they say, when you don't obey the commandments of God. And your kids pay for it. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 22. And it shall be when their fathers of their brethren come unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not to each man his wife in the war. For he did not give unto them at this time, that ye should be guilty.
He said, be favorable to them, because you didn't come up to war. This is what happened. When you don't do what thus said the Lord, your kids suffer. Let's go and look at the law. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. There's a reason why God handles his business this way. He's not going to go against his law. Everything that feels good to you ain't always good for you. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. All we're trying to do here is just make sure you understand about this Sodomy. You got to lay a foundation and go and read this book. That's what's wrong with people today. They don't want to read. They want somebody to entertain them. I'm giving you knowledge here. Sure, if I got to read it, you got to read it. In Leviticus chapter 20, and look what the Lord said, verse 13. Go ahead.
If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
Yes, sir.
They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
He killed them all except for 600 men, put to death the tribe of Benjamin. When you land, if you land with a man as a man, that's unnatural. That is sickness. God said, I'm going to put you to death. And most of y'all, the churches y'all came out of, ain't nobody told y'all this. I know, because I've been in them same churches. They ain't going to tell you this, because they're scared they're going to run somebody off. They're scared they're going to take that money out of church. No, we're going to read this. Well, this is the reason why homosexuality is so rising. It's because of people like me, these preachers, who are not telling you the truth. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 9. We got to read this book. I don't want to just know it's wrong. I want to know why it's wrong. I want to be able to give examples when somebody come and talk to me. That's why I'm giving you all these scriptures, so you can take them down, and you can, somebody asks you a question, and you can go back to your notes and say, look, this is what God did in these cities. This is what God did with the tribe of Benjamin. You will know. This ammunition. Jeremiah chapter 23, we're going to start at verse 9. The reason why this stuff is just going on so rapid because these preachers are not teaching this at all. You rarely hear a homosexual sermon in church. Jeremiah 23 and verse 9. Go ahead, brother.
Mine heart within me is broken because of the prophets.
He said your heart is broken because of the prophets, meaning the preachers. They ain't doing their job. Go ahead.
All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome.
Go ahead.
Because of the Lord, and because of the word of his holiness.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For the land is full of adulterers. For because of swearing, the land mourneth.
Yes, sir.
The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right.
And all the courses in this world is dried up. It's evilness.
Yes.
And if you sit up here and you think everything fine to me, you ain't got a clue. You ain't got a clue. You feel comfortable in this world, you are a part of the world. I don't feel comfortable in this world at all because I see the wickedness that's going on. I'm cringing. Like I said, when me and my daughter had the conversation, I was like, man, these kids thinking that way, it's okay. That's how they think. And most of all, grown-ups think that too because you got these folks are setting laws in the United States for them. That's what they do. Folks say, man, oh man, you just a homophobic. I said, yeah, I'm a homophobic, I'm a lying phobic, I'm a homosexual phobic, I'm a committed adultery phobic, meaning I don't like none of it. We just dealing with the Bible subject entitled. We just dealing with Sodomy today. We dealing with it all. I got a phobia against sin. That's all it is. If you ain't got that phobia, something wrong with you.
That's right, bro.
Go ahead, brother.
Verse 11. For both prophet and priest are profane.
Both of the prophet and priests are profane. Go ahead.
Yea, in my house have I found their wickedness, said the Lord.
You see all these preachers, they're coming up with all these, you find out these preachers homosexual. It's a reason why. Because they letting this stuff go on in their church and they're not saying nothing about it. They see it, they understand it. Jump down to verse 14. Go ahead.
I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing.
Yes, sir.
They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doeth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me a Sodom, and
Yes,
the
sir.
inhabitants thereof of Gomorrah.
It says that all of them are Sodom and Gomorrah. When God destroyed those two cities, why? Because of this homosexuality. And these people strengthen their hands. We're not just talking about preachers also, even the governments, they strengthen their hands. They got more benefits than me and you put together. And these preachers ain't saying nothing about it. Jump down to verse 17. Go ahead.
They say still unto them that despise me.
Yes, sir.
The Lord has said, ye shall have peace. And they say unto every one that walketh after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come upon you.
You might be saying, how do they despise you? They don't even walk in his law. They ain't subject to his law. What they tell you? When you say, well, we keeping the Sabbath day, or we keeping the holy day, oh, you got that old law. God done away with that. That's how they despise him. They despise him by his law. It's the only way you're going to see salvation is you follow his law and believe in Jesus Christ. Only way. Only way. Go ahead. We come to 17. Jump down to verse 21.
I have not sent these prophets, yet they reign. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesy.
You know how they say, oh, I got a dynamic young preacher. He's 25 years old. You got to be 30 years old to be a preacher in God's book. And you talk to some of these young preachers, all they got is little fancy words, put a little fancy stuff together. They ain't got no law. How I know? Because I used to be one of them. Put some words together, wear me a nice clean suit. Oh yeah, he must be righteous. No, God ain't sent these people. If they're not giving you this law, they are false prophet. False. God ain't sent them. Go ahead.
But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my word, then they should have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doings.
See, we got to stand in his counsel. How we stand in his counsel? We read the book and we do it. And y'all turn from y'all ways. This is how you do it. Not coming to church looking to get a call on watch night. Not coming to church and worshiping a Christmas tree on Christmas. Or Easter eggs and Easter bunny. This is not how you do it. You read the book, you follow his laws, statutes, and his commandments. They ain't giving you this. But they have sent themselves. God ain't sent these prophets. It's simple. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 14 and verse 21. Let me show you about Israel when we was a nation and had a king. We're going to read this book today, y'all. 1 Kings chapter 14 verse 21. Yeah, we the best you can with the name. I ain't really good. 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 21. That's Rehoboam. We're going to look at this king called Rehoboam, evil and wicked king. Go ahead, brother.
And all the people of Judah took Azariah.
You in 1 King? I see why you see all the names.
Sorry about that, Joe.
No problem. But let them know we still need Jesus. 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 21.
And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned in Judah. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign.
Yes,
And he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord did choose out of all the tribes of Israel, to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah, an Amorite.
Go ahead.
And Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they provoked him to jealousy with their sins, which they had committed, above all that their fathers had done.
See, on the Rehoboam, Judah did commit all kind of evil. Cause whatever the king does, that's what most likely the people gonna follow. Just like whatever the pastor does, that's what the people in his congregation gonna follow. Rehoboam was an evil king. He did a lot of evil stuff. But I want to show you what he was doing. But go ahead. What he let, under his leadership, he let go. He just let them do evil in his sight. Go ahead.
For they also built them high places and images and groves on every high hill and under every green tree.
That's what we their churches. Go ahead.
And there was also Sodomites in the land, and they did according to all the abomination of the nation which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel.
There were Sodomites in the land, homosexuals in the land, under this king. Go ahead.
25. And it came to pass in the 5th year of King Rehoboam that Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem.
Believe when you have evilness going on in Israel, God lets these other nations come over and take what you got. Same thing going on today in this world. How God let these nations abuse us, which is Israel. We're supposed to be the lawgivers. We're supposed to teach the people. But these teach the nation, but these nations teaching us. Listen what happened. Go ahead.
And he took away the treasures of the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house. He even took away all, and he took away all the shields of gold which Solomon had made.
He took out everything from him. Why? Because he left them Sodomites in the land. And he did all kind of evil And he had all kind of evil going on under his rulership. Jump down to verse 31.
And Rehoboam slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And his mother's name was Nehemiah, and Amorites, and Abijam, his son, reigned in his stead.
Let me show you another king. We comparing these kings on the ones that did righteous and the ones that didn't do righteous. Let's go to the next chapter over, 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 9. Look at it. Jeroboam. Go ahead.
And in the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, reigned Asa over Judah. And 41 year reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Maachah,
Good, go ahead.
the daughter of Abishalom. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father.
See, this king, this Asa, he did was right in the eyes of the Lord. What did he do right? Go ahead, verse 12.
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his fathers had made.
He took away them homosexuals out the land. You saw what Rehoboam did, and now you going to Asa. He didn't do what the wicked king did. This is what we got to do. We got to stand against this homosexuality and speak up. Ain't nobody trying to tell you to go out there and be all crazy with it. Just tell them. Just tell them. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 41. I want y'all to see the Lord paid close attention to what your choices are. He paid close attention. It don't matter how small it is, how big it is. He gonna pay close attention to you. 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 41. He paid close attention to everybody in all generations. So don't just think you just slipping by. Don't just think you slipping by. Don't just think you just so happen to learn this or so happen to do this. No, everything is ordained. Verse 41. 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 41. Go ahead.
And Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
And his mother's name was Azabah, the daughter of Shiliah. And he walked in all the ways of Asa, his father.
Understand, Asa was a good king. Asa walked in the ways of the Lord, so he followed after his father. Go ahead.
And he walked in all the ways of Asa, his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places.
Go ahead.
And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might that he showed, and how he war, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?
There's one thing he didn't do though. Go ahead.
And the remnant of the Sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land.
Sure, he did take out the Sodomite. This is what we must do. Tell people about homosexuality so they won't have these places coming up. These places are here today. They got gay churches. They do. Go look online. Instead of the first lady, they got the first man. And they got a male preacher. All of them. And they all stand from who? The Catholic Church. But this is what we must do. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 22 and verse 1. 2 Kings chapter 22 and verse 1.
Now we can say king.
Yeah, we can say yeah. 2 Kings 22, verse 1. The only way Only way we're gonna make things right is we got to understand this Bible. That's the only way. We got to read it. That's the only way. Believe me, if you was a bad student in school and you didn't like to read, you're gonna have a hard time in here. You gotta readjust. You're gonna read. But I know I was one of them students, I ain't like to read. I said, man, I don't know this bad, so I got to read it. 1 Kings chapter 22 and verse 1. Go ahead. 2 Kings, excuse me, you're right. Josiah.
Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and his reigned 30 and 1 year in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jediah, the daughter of Ahadiah, of Bokach. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the way of David his father, turned not aside to the right hand or to the left.
So this is righteous king, Josiah. He walked in the ways of the Lord, in the sight of the Lord. He walked in it. Jump down to verse 8.
And Hilkiah, the high priest, said unto Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it.
So he found the Bible in the house of the Lord. And when he found his Bible, he gonna start reading it. And believe me, when a man of God sees something that his people are doing wrong, and he been over them, he gonna feel really bad about it. Jump down to verse 10.
And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest has delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king.
This is the Bible. Go ahead. The Torah, the first 5 books of Moses. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes.
So he was like, man, he heard what he was not doing by reading this book. If you don't read the book, you're not going to know what thus says the Lord wants you to do. He ripped his clothes, man. He was mad. Like, man, I thought like a lot of times I find out I was doing right, then I find out I'm doing wrong, man. That made me mad. He ripped his clothes. Like, man, we've been doing this thing all wrong. Why? Because we wasn't reading. Go ahead.
And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Archibald, the son of Milkiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, a servant of the king, saying, Go ye, inquire of the Lord for me, and for the people, and for all Judah, concerning the words of this book that is found.
That's a great leader. He said, go and inquire of the Lord. Go ask him what we must do.
That's right.
That's a great leader. This is what we're doing today. Learning what these prophets did back then so we can apply them to now. How? We read the examples of this Bible. Go ahead.
For great is the wrath of the Lord that is kindled against us.
Yes, sir.
Because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book.
And they still ain't hearkening, still ain't listening to the word of the book. Go ahead.
To do according unto all that which is written concerning us.
Yes, sir. Go to 2 Kings chapter 23 and verse 1. Now this is how you were supposed to respond when a man of God is reading the Bible to you and telling you what you're supposed to be doing. You know, Israel, we hard-headed and we stiff-necked now. But this is how we respond. You're supposed to respond. You're supposed to follow these scriptures every day from sun up to sundown. Verse 1, go ahead.
And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of the Lord.
So he doing what I'm doing, reading in y'all ears. I read in my ear, so I know what I'm supposed to do. Go ahead.
And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord, to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant.
And that's what we did. We stayed